Real estate agents, they're either interested in learning about estate planning, either for their client, perhaps avoiding probate, maybe learning about estate planning as it pertains to themselves and their own family, and or in addition to that, maybe getting involved in marketing estate planning and using that as a lead generation, referral generating resource and pick up additional leads and opportunities along the way. So we have that program built out, a turnkey program. So let's talk about it. My name is Sal Sophia. On with us here is Lowell Carroll and Trina Harris. Here we are right here. This is the team that will help you if you have an interest in getting involved in adding estate planning or legacy planning, probate avoidance to your clients, families, and their properties. So we have an exclusive marketing system. Now, we all know that it's what people do not know that seems to put them in trouble. So clients do need education, especially in the area of estate planning. You do not need to have a lot of assets to be considered for creating an estate plan or to avoid probate with particular properties. And so what we do is allow you to tap into education resources regarding property avoidance for all of someone's assets and tap into a robust and full array of content, videos, white papers that you could learn from, keep, and most importantly, share with others. While you learn from the experts on estate planning topics and the language that you need to market and convert more leads. And that's what this is really all about. Now, it's great to be able to step in and provide education as a value add, but if you're not able to convert to something that pays you, such as a real estate sale or a transaction, well, you're only getting half of the opportunity. So in the next few minutes, we're going to share some ways in which you can pick up the other half. Now, I mentioned the content and the information, the resources that we provide. You could see here in this list, you may need binoculars, but the list does show you a whole host and array of content, videos, checklists, resources, a library, life guide booklets, and this video series that you could learn from as well as share. This is all available to you once you become enrolled with us. People do, agents have, and still do, get involved, but they always seem to have the same frustration and ask the same questions. How do I take this and really do something well with it? Where do I go to try to become successful in marketing? And look, this is nothing new. This is just sharing with you out of 100% of your marketing capabilities and sectioning where your marketing should exist. And 20% of that marketing should be with your family, friends, and associates. Really just speaking about the fact that you now can help assist with avoiding probate. Is that what they want to have happen? Should something happen to them, call it even a married couple, without recognizing that probate can be involved? And as you learn more about how deeds are titled and the differences between the titling or the entities involved, you'll learn that the people that you're talking to know very, very little and become very thankful for having you reach out to them. 20% you can call the hot market, right? Prior solds, people that you have in your, call it book of business, where you have sold property to and didn't really bring up the exit strategy with them for that property. And that property should avoid probate. And they may look at you one day and say, how did you allow us to purchase property and to have it titled and walk us through the entirety of the process and not really even talk about the exit strategy where you could have done that right at the very beginning? The warm market, current prospects, people that you're talking to, perhaps future clients, or even people that know you, like you, and trust you, is another good market to consider in bringing up the subject of estate planning or creating a legacy and passing a legacy. It's all about that. It's all about legacy, which equals wealth accumulation, wealth management, wealth protection, asset protection, tax mitigation, and of course, keeping a family out of court and out of conflict. 20% of your marketing could be spent in promoting ads through social media, publications, direct mail, for example, can be very effective when you target the right audience for receiving mail. That has an important, where these people are really thinking about engaging with someone to talk about their estate because they've put it off too long. So that might be the older segment of the population, people perhaps older than 50, people with children, especially people with young children. Estate planning is very important because it encompasses more than just creating a transition, a distribution, but it also includes guardianship and appointments, such as power of attorneys for financial and health and guardianship, as I said. And then the other 20% could be networking, right? Rotary clubs, business networking groups, working with your team, even recruiting other agents to join you to put more power and effort behind the work of talking about estate planning and getting excited about it together. So your network is very important. You could also include in that network your professional sphere. They could be tax people, they could be insurance agents, they could be financial people, right? They could be even attorneys who really are not involved in estate planning. So there are many ways and aspects for you to market. So we've put together an opportunity that actually, beyond creating an estate plan for a family, turnkey, done through the comfort of their home at their convenience, and built for them, where documents are drafted by board-appointed attorneys and a legal team to oversee compliance suitability in all 50 states. But we've created the ability for an agent to be compensated when a client completes their estate plan. Now, some agents may say, I really don't need to get paid. It's the right thing to do. And I get that. And it is the right thing to do. The client needs to make a payment regardless. That payment for an estate plan can vary with the level of complexity that they bring to the table regarding assets, multiple properties, what they're trying to do, how sophisticated that plan may need to be. But keep in mind, the 80% of the public out there require basic estate planning. Nothing very complicated when it comes to avoiding probate and placing assets inside of the name of the trust. Once we get to a point where that estate plan becomes complicated and we're looking at asset preservation, litigation protection, or asset protection in the form of irrevocable trusts, then we hand that person off to the proper firm and people that will work with them. But they hold hands with us, with you, as you are involved in the entirety of building this legacy plan with them. We call that joint client work together. We also provide pre and post-sale client management. Pre-sale, where we're providing them with the information they need so that they become basically knowledgeable about what to expect. And then the post-sale component, which is really challenging for us, but that's really the differentiator, is helping them manage that legacy and estate plan continually through post-sale client follow-up and providing them with estate planning education and resources, not just for the grantor, the owner of the trust, but for those other trustees, successor trustees, as well as beneficiaries. And so we are able now to work through that family unit and be referred to them, to talk to them about the importance of probate avoidance and getting their act together. So we mentioned the pre and post sale client education. Now we also provide deed retitling, deed refiling services. And we're also able to discuss and help them with their businesses. And many of our clients do have businesses. I mean, don't they? Most people today do. They could be in the form of a corporation, they could be an LLC, they could have partners. And so we need to work with them and talk to them about their intentions of that asset. What do they want to happen to that business when they're no longer here? There are 4 or 5 Ds: death, disability, divorce, disengagement of a business. And so there is some discussion that is involved in that because that business needs to transfer and go to the right people. And so we work with them to talk about the functions of that exit strategy should something happen. That is estate planning, is it not? And then, of course, their own asset and financial planning is extremely important because without that, you have just a piece of paper with a promise to pay a beneficiary or a family member or a spouse. But if there is no money involved, what good is it? So someone needs to do this work. And that is what we do. We've been doing this work for 35 years. So what does a client get? Well, what we offer is your basic estate planning package. And I don't want to say basic because it can become complex, but it is a revocable living trust. Now, it could be either a disclaimer trust or an AB trust, and it also will include a pour over will. I'm not getting involved in the meaning of these things, of course, but you get it. The last will and testament, financial and healthcare powers of attorney, child's subtrust options, guardianship provisions, distribution scheduling, advance directives, living will, and personal memorandums, which is like love letters that you will find in a will. Reminds me of the old Honeymooners episode where that rich woman left her fortune to Jackie Gleason. And the fortune was, of course, a parrot. I'll never forget that. So we provide complimentary 15 to 20-minute pre-estate planning sessions for your clients. And we will size up and work with them and ask them questions and guide them and comfort them about how we would help them get started, providing them with the guidance and support, letting them know about our asset inventory tools that will help us help them identify assets that they have so that somebody knows where they are should something happen to them. That seems to be a big missing piece here, is that the loss of billions of dollars takes place because no one knows where anything is. So we stand there making sure that this is included in their estate plan and everybody is on the same page. And the other important people in their families will also have the right to know about that and have that information automatically passed to them precisely at the right time during incapacitation or death. So this helps keep your planning complete and current, because an incomplete plan is not a current plan. 10 years from now, things change. And of course, if it's not included in the updates of your plan, it's a failed plan. A person has wasted their money. So you can see all the components that we offer here. We offer business valuation services, insurance reviews, and real estate valuation services. They're very important that the real estate property has proper valuations from time to time, and it's noted accordingly. Now, on the financial planning side, this is where we actually work with them personally to manage their assets, growth of their assets, protecting their money, replacing a lost income. But more importantly, is to make sure that this trust that they pay good money for will never run out of money. And if a trust has assets in it, because it should, we want to make sure that their money doesn't go through probate, but they don't live too long and outlive their money through needing money for healthcare or just enjoying their lifestyle or a lousy stock market environment, as we know, would cripple someone's portfolio. And therefore, you could say goodbye to having an estate plan that's going to transfer assets to their loved ones. So you could see the pieces that we also incorporate on the back end. This is after the estate plan has been developed. This is what we discuss and how we help families manage more than just the estate plan. We are prepared and able to help them with more advanced planning, advanced asset protection services, as I said. We utilize estate planning concepts, advanced concepts. We can tap into nationwide attorney networks. We can handle irrevocable trusts, not in the design of the trust, but they hand off to the proper firms that can generate and create the appropriate irrevocable trust. But we're knowledgeable enough to understand the places where irrevocable trusts are important or not. And here are some of the words you might have heard: a dynasty trust. We can talk about Medicaid spend down alternatives, and obviously other very important probate avoidance techniques. On the real estate side, our agents really love this because this shows immediately how important the engagement is of that real estate professional to be involved, to be active, continually engaged with the family by offering property valuations, comps, right? BPOs, perhaps, market conditions on their properties that they have, right? Geographic inventory of other properties. Some agents may have a large buyer pool to stimulate conversation about a possible sale. And of course, a seller's transaction support and guidance. So we've really incorporated the lives of a realtor within the estate planning process. With insurance pieces, we're very adept at all of what you see here, and probably more that I've left out. So we are able to manage their insurance portfolios, review them for better costs, more benefits, talk to them about planning for health care through long-term care funding. Should something happen to them, how important is it to make sure that money continues to flow into the household? And even more than just this. Our unique model consists of general services, advanced education, and how to become a marketing specialist. And the general services include the things we talked about: wills, trusts, powers of attorney, life estate options that a family may want to leave someone in the home for their enjoyment. And that's called a life estate. Sometimes you could have heard the words ladybird deed. So we provide complete turnkey legacy planning, asset protection from probate, trustee and successor trustee education and assistance, and a 6-month checkup, a check-in, if you will. And we have the authority to do that. And one of the things that real estate agents fear is that I already sold them something. What can I possibly talk to them about now? Well, every 6 months, it's a good idea to check on them to make sure they are doing the things they should be doing, which is avoiding probate with their property and their assets, and that you can help them do that conveniently, efficiently. And it is part of your obligation to do so. You have now the authority to act and not feel funny about it, because it is required that this take place. We now can provide trust and will reviews at no cost, done by attorneys, JDs. These are more than just your local attorney. These are JDs sometimes in taxation and JDs in legal matters, estate planning. So they will review someone's trust or their will, if they have one. All that's needed is they supply it to you, supply it to us, we forward it, they review it. They will not give advice, but what they will do is come back with an assessment of what they see, whether things have been left out, whether there are different opportunities that should be considered. And the same thing applies to a business valuation. I'm going through that situation now with several customers that have businesses that they're either going to transfer to the partner or they're going to sell outright that business. That business needs to be valued. Who does that? So we partner with a business valuation firm that will provide this business valuation and provide structure, knowledge about what that business really is worth. This is critical when it comes time to sell a business. In the advanced education, we talk about wealth creation and management, how you effectively transfer property, the different mechanisms involved, capital gains mitigation strategies. By the way, there is currently an awesome video on how to avoid capital gains. Now, it's not always as easy as it sounds, but you can do it. You can actually enjoy not paying the IRS the capital gains on the sale of property if you understand some basic trust structuring. And so we can help a family do that. An investor would be very open-minded, don't you think? Income and trust sustainment, we talked about that. Of obviously insurance and its uses. Partner support and protection of a loved one or a child. And helping them understand how to protect that special needs person, which may not be a child. An elderly person could be a special needs person. Now, one of the things that this does so brilliantly is it allows you to work and go from family to family, to start with Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones, and then segue right to the children of Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who could be 41 years old and have their own children and have their own property, or they're renting and they may need property, but we learn about what their lifestyle is all about. This is a fabulous way to embed yourself as that family realtor trusted advisor who they will think about first. We can help with conducting workshops, whether that's providing you presentation pieces, PowerPoint, virtual Zoom, joint work, creating a webinar. You need to announce your additional value, though. You cannot keep it a secret, nor should you. You need to make that announcement. The fact that you now have added this critical skill set of knowledge-based estate planning is something that they haven't heard. And it's being left out because no one is talking about it, especially in the real estate industry. Again, using media, social media, podcasting. This will allow you to identify new property leads as we learn that they own 3 houses and 2 of them they want to get rid of. And isn't it sweet that you just so happen to be there and they're confiding in you with everything else? A bit about competition. This is important. Yes, there are places where you can get an estate plan documents together by doing it yourself. And it could be $750 or $995. That's a possibility. But that's a failure. Because getting documents is a fraction of what's required based on what we have just discussed here today. You could see how an estate plan is not just getting documents. An estate plan is a living, breathing instrument in which it requires handholding and competency that AI or that document just can't come out of the drawer and tell you what you should be doing. So you do get what you paid for, unfortunately. Do it yourself. You can go to an attorney. I will never suggest, hey, you should never go to an attorney. But really, attorneys are not as much needed anymore, as they're the ones that created the framework for the technology. Wealth Counsel is the largest technology firm that built estate planning technology for attorneys across the country. And I know the owner, Stan Miller. So we know all about how all these pieces of technology have been put together to help aid attorneys speed up the process. And all we have done was be given the ability to use similar technology, which is the same thing that an attorney would use, but without the billable hours that comes with an attorney every time they need to do something or answer your question or provide information about a deed or, So what we've done is we've included all of that in our packaging. Now, the front end that the attorney has may be good. That the attorney, when they initially sit down, they draft the documents, they get the deed prepared, they may even file the deed for you, record it. But there is a very weak back end. We already know that millions of trusts have failed and are going to fail because there's been no follow-up in processing any new assets that either need to flow in or be removed from the trust, along with beneficiary changes and successor trustee changes. And once somebody realizes the work that's involved for a successor trustee and the level of competency that they require to fulfill the obligation of that role of being a successor trustee, they probably would say, no, thank you, I don't want that position. So it's important to provide this education to the family in recognizing what that successor trustee's role will be and who do they go to for assistance. And that is what we provide. So we really do not want that successor trustee. I had a case recently. The estate plan was completed, and 3 months later, the person died. The successor trustee was a 21-year-old niece. That 21-year-old niece did not know what to do. You have to deal with the IRS. You have to deal with filing a tax return. You have to deal with accounting of the assets. You have to deal with preparation and notices to beneficiaries. This is all based on a timeline. And if you're in real estate, you already know how to follow timelines, right? Well, it's like that. So we're proud and happy that we're here to help a family do that. And then there's the DIT method. And I like that one the most. And that is, let's do it together. Let's continue to work together with the client and their professional advisor, both during the pre and post planning continuance to assure the validity of the estate plan and the optimization and maximization of not only their legacy, and we've left out a lot because with legacy, there's culture, there's familial work that one family wants to pass, and a history that they want to pass to the next generation. And all of that can be placed inside of an estate plan. Then there's back-end sales opportunities, which occur as the relationship strengthens. And they'll trust you and refer you more frequently. So to sum it up here, these are some of the income sources that await you if you feel you want to do something different and find a better way to a new income, more leads, direct help with a family, and stay in the real estate business but find a new marketing source.